Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. The fit for this video is my own Data Over Dogma hoodie. Let's take a look at a video.
Is Earth a prison, and what did Jesus have to say about it? If you're new to this series, I stumbled upon this Reddit forum called Escaping Prison Planet, where they showed that we're all in prison. Our negative energy is being harvested. We're trapped here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to the beginning of the series. But today we're looking at the teachings of Jesus and seeing what they say about it, whether he agrees or disagrees.
All right, let's see it.
And the teachings and words of Jesus primarily survived due to word of mouth for like the first 100 years after his death.
So a couple things to say. The first is that the first generation after Jesus' death probably preferred transmitting those messages by word of mouth because they probably considered the orally communicated living words of Jesus to have more authority than dead letters on a page. But they also added to, innovated on, elaborated on those words. But we begin to see the commitment of those words to text probably within 20 to 30 years after Jesus' death, with the sayings gospels that would make up some of the sources for the texts that still survive that began to be recorded about 40 years after Jesus' death. And those are the gospels. So within 100 years of Jesus' death, we have probably the initial composition and circulation of almost all of the texts of the New Testament. So it's probably that first generation that cherished the orally communicated transmission of Jesus' message. And then when Jesus didn't return within that first generation, and the plausibility of having heard Jesus' words directly from his mouth or from someone who did hear them directly from his mouth begins to diminish, at which point the locus of authority has to transition from the orally communicated message to the physically recorded textual manifestation of that message.
Once these stories, teachings, legends started getting written down, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of various different texts. So there was a problem because there were so many different writings out there and a lot of them contradicted each other, and so people wanted to establish what were the correct teachings. The first time somebody is documented trying to do this is Marcion of Sinope.
This is accurate. As far as I know, Marcion's canon is considered to be the first canon list we have.
These are the books that he recommended as the true teachings. Marcion was actually excommunicated by the church. He was considered to be a heretic. And this is because he believed the God of Jesus was above the God of the Old Testament. They are two different gods. The God of Israel is a lesser, evil God, and Jesus' God is a higher God.
So this is Gnosticism. This is what happens when you take the cosmology of Middle Platonism and it has a baby with the Bible. And hopefully you can see the anti-Semitism inherent in the notion that the God of the Jewish people is evil and corrupt and a lesser God, and that the God of Jesus is a higher God. But it's basically just reformulating the creation of the world through the lenses of Middle Platonism and its own cosmological narrative that it has come up with.
Gnostic comes from the word gnosis, which means knowledge. They believed that Christ gave secret teachings that you needed to ascend.
Yes, this is what happens when you give the Bible a good shellacking of Middle Platonism. You get this idea that the fleshly temporal world is evil and corrupt, and the spiritual world of the divine, the pleroma, the fullness, is exalted over it and is good. You get this idea that Jesus is a representative of that spiritual higher world, and so the fleshly world is a prison of our spirits, and salvation is a matter of overcoming the flesh and escaping the fleshly prison. So this is where we get the idea of the prison planet. The corporeal fleshly world is corrupt and evil, and so we have to escape it to return back to the pleroma and the real world of the divine.
Okay, so why this long setup? It is so important to understand that the frame of view that we have today, this little circle that we consider Christianity and the true views of Christianity, did not exist for hundreds of years after the birth of Christ. Traditional Christianity does not support a prison planet-like theory, right? Christ came, he suffered for our sins. It's through accepting him that we are saved. This is due to the original sin. We're born sinners. We're saved from sin through Christ. Many branches or many people of early Christianity did not think this way, including Mary Magdalene and other of Christ's primary followers. They believed in a literal Jesus that was showing us the path, telling us how to live, because it's only through his words and these secret teachings that we ascend. They believed there was a teaching that he gave to the masses to basically just teach them how to become good human beings, and then there were secret teachings on how to become enlightened, if you will. Escape the world that we're in.
This is not accurate. This is presupposing the authenticity of the pseudepigraphic texts that were written in the 2nd century CE within the Gnostic movement, which again is that reinterpretation of the Bible through the lenses of Middle Platonism, and particularly its cosmology and its soteriology. If you'd like to learn more about Gnosticism, their history, their scriptures, their influence on religion, as well as the Gnostic group that has survived down to today, here are some texts you can check out.